fine. But I think that's the best time to do it. It's not ideal if the host is the one actually hosting the matches, so that's just my take. Okay, so Vinard getting struck 2 times here. I don't think he even landed a proper hit. Another strike for Luck. And I really think Yendrick was a bad pick by Vinard. He's a wild card sometimes, but he's so hard to use. Okay, Vinard just going on the attack. That's basically his strategy of Yendrick, and it works there. Luck turtled up a bit too much. You gotta kind of approach this a bit differently from how you would most characters, and I think Luck knows that. It's just that Yendrick is just terrifying to fight. Yendrick is tired. Yeah, good thrust. That thrust might be key. I agree Parsek's better, by the way. I totally agree. I think Vinard should try Parsec again. Maybe that would fix the problem right then and there. Some back and forth there results in a double. Quite a parry by Barabash. Vinard just spamming attacks, and yeah, that's the problem. I don't think he knows the ins and outs of Yendrick, you know? He knows how to attack with him with many of the basic moves, but he doesn't know the advanced combos, he doesn't know the pendulum, he doesn't know the feints, I don't think. It's gonna net him some kills if he distances things well, which is really the key with Yendrick, but otherwise I think he's at a severe disadvantage. And that was a good attempt by Luck, but I think that thrust is not the most reliable counter. Maybe some basic cuts would be good. Sidestep out of range, good punish by Vinard. Vinard is an experienced player, so you can use that to his advantage. He knows when he has an opening. And it's actually an even fight now. Luck had an early advantage. And okay, there we go. Thrust into 2 cuts. Good combination by Luck. There's a strike. But the thing is, if the host is the one who's hosting the matches, it doesn't change anything, right? So it's only a viable scenario, only a viable solution if the host is not the one hosting, you know what I mean? Or if there's like multiple, I guess getting commentators in there would be good though. But the fighters themselves, nothing changes if they just go on the host, you know? Anyway, very even fight, down to the last flag, so it's obviously very tense for both of them. Vinard spamming attacks, and there you go, yeah, it's that combo. As soon as that strikes you, you're basically screwed if the Yendrick knows what to do. It's Yendrick's one reliable sequence of moves, I would say. The punches with the hilt and all the rest of it. So Vinu might switch to Laszlo. He does, and then we're seeing a Yazik from Luck. I mean, I was saying a bunch of stuff about Vinard's pick being bad, but he won, so It was really close though, so it might still be advisable to switch to Laszlo. And to use the Vinard a lot. See if he starts using the Vinard. Good cut by Vinard countering the incoming attack from Luck. Luck thought he had an opportunity to move in, but Vinard's really tricky. He throws a bunch more cuts than you think he'll throw. And sometimes those cuts can have defensive properties that you don't expect. And this is sort of what I mean when I talk about offense and defense being linked. I mean, Vinard really doesn't rely on his guard, and yet he's still able to create a shell of death around him with that sword. So he's defending himself in a lot of cases by attacking. Sometimes there's spacing too, but he's not really using his guard, he's using his attacks to threaten you. And it goes to show there's many approaches to this game, and you don't have to just simply guard. There are many effective options, and that was a good lunge by Luck, a good patience on his part under the onslaught of Vinard's attacks. Good thrust, the corkscrew thrust. That's actually a more lethal move now. And there's a cut by Luck. Okay, Luck is doing a lot of long guard spam, which is something some characters like doing. Nothing wrong with that, by the way. I want to be clear. I know spam has a lot of negative connotations sometimes. There's nothing wrong with spamming for one thing, but the other thing, even if there was, he's not, you know, cheesing or anything. He's just switching guards, being tricky, making sure he defends against any attack that comes in. It's something Venator likes doing, and it's a really effective tactic. So, yeah, just to be clear, if I ever point out something being spammed, I'm not criticizing their play, I'm not saying they're being cheap, nothing like that. Use whatever tactic works. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. There's a thrust attempt. Good defense by Luck, and then he retreats with the X-Cut. And Vinard, ironically, is doing worse with Laszlo, which I would not have expected, but I think Luck's tricky style is sort of dismantling Vinard's style. It's harder to get that tricky with the blade work with Alex. He doesn't usually rely on tricky blade work, he relies more on dancing with the opponent and using more straightforward attacks. So Luck's style might be a better counter to Vinard's style, I think. Certainly, if we compare Alexander and to Yazek in both our hands. Of course, Vinard has more experience, but he's a very offensively minded player, and that's very good, but sometimes he's offensive to a fault. And Luck is a rising star. He's gotten really good with Yazek. A lot of people compare his style to Warden, so really good to see Vinard being defensive. You can see that bites him in the butt there. And there's a lunge. Yeah, Vinard can't just stand there and turtle. And he learned that the hard way. Nicely done by Luck. Luck is very good at finding those angles, especially against a character like Laszlo. Alright, hold RT. There you go. Yandrik and Barabash. I'm surprised he went back to Barabash, but to be fair, they're very similar characters. To be fair, Yandrik was actually going better for Vinard this time, so I think it's just a matchup thing. I'm not sure why you would stream the Discord stream, though. That doesn't make a whole lot of sense, because as the host, you'd get the best quality from your own thing. If anything, running the stream for the host, I think, would add a little bit of extra bandwidth. Because you're also running the parsec while you're doing that, so Unless you're talking about what I did with Tau. In which case that makes sense. That means the host is the one streaming it, so, and then like the commentators watching it that way. So, the other commentator, I mean. Anyway. Lunge attempt by Locke. Vinu just going for a bunch of attacks. He manages to stun, but unfortunately he didn't get the spacing right. It would have been more ideal to obviously strike with the axe head, but it's kind of tough to do sometimes. It's a skill on its own to get the spacing with Yandrik down, and I don't think anyone's really practiced him enough, except maybe Carlos and Velociraptor to that degree. Yeah, Carlos and Velociraptor, I would say, have it down. They're really good Yandrik players. Zero as well when he played Yandrik, but he hasn't played in a while, so hasn't even been on the server for a while, to be honest. Anyway, relatively even fight, but Vinu is ahead. Sidestep out of range, Vinu could have punished that. So Luck has to be kind of careful here. I think he has to stick with the basics. Good cuts, shutting down Vineyard's attack, and hitting him at the same time. That's probably a good combination against Yandrik. Big cut by Luck. I think he was too close for that specific cut he chose. That was a good hit, though. Vineyard was not getting a whole lot for attacks, but I think he was taking out stamina with those stuns. Luck's stamina has recovered. He goes for stabs. I don't think the stab was advisable, but the lunge lands, striking the kidney. Vineyard might resort to Isabella again. I don't know if that'd be a good idea, but he might do that. He sometimes does that when he feels he's losing. I mean, that's what we saw when I finally defeated his last move. He switched to Isabella. Certainly, when it came to the Isabella mirror, that did not work well. Would it work better against the Saber, though? That's the question. Keeping in mind that Vineyard does have experience with Isabella, she might not be his best character, but with the state Isabella is in right now, you know, you never know. If Vineyard gets desperate, he might do that. I'd say if Vineyard wins, though, he probably shouldn't do that. He should probably just stick with what's working. But anyway, even fight. Vineyard going with very short range attacks, and he's getting punished, and they're also burning stamina. Luck knows not to challenge them directly. And the Saber actually outreaches the axe when you do those short range moves. Trying to strike the leg, but I don't think doing the Vineyard with Yandrik is a good idea. I guess that's a reverse Vineyard because he's doing a different attack, but yeah, I really don't think the Vineyard works all that well with Yandrik. That was an interesting hit. I'm not sure if it actually hit the head or not. It feels like it hit the sword and then hit his head somehow. Oh well. I'm gonna look at that again. Anyway, good kill by Luck. I'm still focusing on this, of course. I just want to see what happens. Luck trying to make an approach. Yeah, the axe didn't really hit him convincingly, but oh well. That was a hit to the arm. I see why the game might have detected a hit, though. I can kind of see where it's coming from after that video. So it's not the worst case of it I've seen, but it was a kind of a bizarre ghost hit. If he followed through more with the hit, though, it might have made some sense. But anyway, very close fight down to the wire. Going for a stab. I don't know if... Ooh, it's dangerous. It might work, but it's dangerous. I like that Luck isn't being rat. Okay, as I say that, he goes for the stab, and that's why I was thinking it might not be a good idea. The problem there is, it's a pretty reliable move as far as landing it, but as far as killing it, kind of leaves a bit to be desired, whereas Yendrik's moves don't really have that problem. And that thrust can be beaten down, or just outright blocked with long guard, so... Okay, Yendrik and Isabella? Alright, that's how you know Luck is desperate. Luck is going with Isabella, and Vinard sticking with Yendrik. So he probably saw my performance with Isabella and figured that'd be a safe pick, which is understandable. Isabella is a tough character, and I think Luck has enough experience with her that he might be able to make something happen, because Vinard's not the most experienced with Yendrik either. I don't want to give Luck any tips, he's probably listening, but he's doing a good job so far. If Luck was paying attention to my fight, though, he certainly knows what to do. It's just a matter of implementing it. I think he was definitely talking a lot about our fight, saying I was just warming up. And to be fair, though, I don't think that's wrong, because, I mean, I had to warm up, and of course Vinard's tired. The tired swing kills. Amazing. That was very hectic right there, and they both got tired. So again, even fight. Luck a bit hesitant to close. That might be a problem. The longer he stays at range, the more Vinard can pick him apart. He moves in eventually. Takes the hand off. Gotta really get in there. When you're fighting Yendrik with any character, really, any sword. With the exception of rapiers, I would say. And there's a cut to the hand, taking the hand off. Again, both challenging each other with high guard. I think Vinard chose the wrong move, and that was a good rush-in by Luck. Even if that strike did land, it would have probably only stunned him instead of doing damage. Just the half would have hit. Yeah, he is doing better with Yendrik here. I think it comes down to the fact that I'm more experienced with Isabella than Luck is. That said, though, Luck is getting a lead. He's definitely adapting. So... I don't want to make a judgment on that just yet. Oh, good smack by Vinard, and yeah, the forced double that people dread when fighting Isabella does not occur, so that's good for Vinard. And that makes sense, it was only a little flick, so it should not have done anything, and it didn't, so... That was his chance to punish that, but he didn't. Not properly. That upward cut is good up close, but it's bad when you have distance like that. It can sometimes shield you from those strikes, though, so it's definitely a good move. Good charge by Luck. Rushes in there. The rush attacks can definitely work well here, so that was a good choice. And Vinard's gonna have to react perfectly to those when they come out, because his blocking ability is lacking. Good retreat cut, but it doesn't kill. It hit the arm, which is probably why. And anybody's game again, really close match. Vinard takes it though. He's in a good spot. He wins, in fact. Vinard in the corner, that's probably not good, but he suddenly rushes out. He knows he can't stay in the corner. Retreat cut, however, it does not land properly. It doesn't give the axe head, and there's a double. This is getting really intense. Luck knows he has to attack. The problem is Vinard's actually doing a decent job of defending actively. High guard by Luck, and Vinard tries to punish the X chops. He's doing the reverse Vinard of the X cuts, and then finally he gets a kill there. That was very close though. Vinard was low in stamina, so he needed that chop to kill. And I believe Vinard took it, unless I miscounted. hate Yandere. Yandere can be definitely annoying sometimes. There's no doubt about it. And Steam, yeah. I understand hating Steam, don't get me wrong. Yeah, Steam is just worse. Pluck is trying to launch the flight, okay. Oh, Vineyard had a misclick at some point?